Alrighty, everyone, Mesomat back here with another video for you guys. I appreciate y'all for being here. This will be the first video we've had in about a couple days. I took the last 2 days off. There wasn't a lot going on. There still isn't, a lot of craziness going on. We're going to start to ramp things back up with severe weather tomorrow. We have a pretty significant weather pattern that'll be settling in for much of this weekend into next week. We also now have a tropical system to potentially be watching here. You can already see this on your screen. I have the open view here of the Atlantic Ocean. We now have a highlighted area of development in the near the Bahamas and parts of the western and central Atlantic areas here that we're going to talk about as far as potential development and what that's going to do down the road and all of that. But if you guys will, as always, make sure you like the screen or tap the screen, tap the video here, and also share the video out and comment if you have any questions. As always, we will probably be doing a live stream at some point today. I don't know when that's going to be. We'll also be live tomorrow and probably the next couple days as things start to kind of ramp up with severe weather again. So kind of just look out for those streams. We'll talk more about that later on down the road once we get those streams set up for the next couple of days. Other than that, guys, what you see on your screen here is going to be the Atlantic Basin in a wide view range here. I don't show this too often because, typically we've been pretty quiet over the last couple of weeks. Since Hurricane Beryl and Chris, we haven't had a lot to talk about. And now we do have something to talk about, and that is going to be right off the coast of Africa here. We have what's called a tropical wave, and this is going to be working its way west toward the central Atlantic Basin here. This is going to kind of start to track its way over here potentially towards north of the Dominican Republic, north of the islands here. This is something we're going to watch very, very, very closely. This does have some signal for potential tropical depression, tropical storm potential development. I've not seen anything translating toward a hurricane right now, which is good news. This is just an area to watch, and I'll show you that area to watch here in just a second. But that wave is now off the coast of Africa. It is going to be working its way due west here. It's going to take a couple of days. These storms that come off the coast of Africa typically take, 10 to 14, maybe even higher, some 17 to 20 days to get their way over here to our area to where they could have U.S. impacts or non-U.S. impacts. So this is just a watching point in this. We're going to talk about this each day going forward as long as this is a potential system. But my best and thoughts with this would be that this just completely fizzles out. But we are going to have to watch this closely. The waters are very, very warm. We've had a lot of Saharan dust. It's going to start to work its way away from the major development regions, so that will open the door, especially as we go into August here for potential tropical development. So make sure you guys still have your hurricane prep plans in place along the coastline of the East Coast there from Florida up to Maine. Watching as well that you are in parts of the Gulf of Mexico. Just kind of be mindful even in other areas and other countries as well. If you watch these videos, make sure you guys, have your hurricane prep plans ready to go once again. So this is something we're watching. We'll go ahead and hype over to the radar mega screen here. We can talk about where that area of development is going to be at, and that is that yellow shaded area. This just came out by the National Hurricane Center with the afternoon advisory here this afternoon on July 26th. This is now a 20% chance of development in this yellow shaded area within now in the next 7 days. Now that's a small area, but these typically do come out pretty small to start with, and as we get closer to this storm working its way into that development region, remember, it's just now coming off the coast of Africa. We'll start to learn more about this. The hurricane hunters, once there might be a low potentially that develops, might start to work out there and, get some information and get some data for us. But like I said, hopefully this will just kind of fall apart. But like I said, this is something the European model has been trying to trend this towards potentially something. The GFS has been a little bit iffy with it. So there's a lot of, time to figure out with this system. So like I said, this is an area to watch. This is not a named storm. This is not anything to be hyped about, or this is nothing to be crazy or worried about, but this is just something that we're watching as far as development goes. Now, we are also watching another area of development here, a 30% chance of development within the next 7 days off the coast of Mexico. This has got some model trends potentially hanging around the Baja California area, so we're going to watch this as well as we go into the next couple of weeks. But as far as tropical development, we'll talk more about that later on down the road when we get closer to that, and we get more updates with that first being, that first issuing outlook there for today. We'll go ahead and hop over to the severe weather conversation we're going to have here as well for you guys. We are going to start to see that severe weather potential ramp up very quickly. We've seen monsoon season ongoing over here in Arizona, Phoenix, Tucson. You guys have seen a lot of rain. We've seen anywhere from 0 to 10 inches of rainfall in some areas with that flooding potential. So be mindful. We've had a couple of actual tornado warnings in Arizona. Last week we had a couple. We've had a lot of wind. We've had a lot of, just dust being blown up because it's the desert. But just be mindful of those rainfall totals there. The desert areas do flood very easily. We have a marginal risk down there today. Again, we have a marginal risk over here near Salt Lake City, eastern parts of Nevada, western parts of Utah here as well. This is something that we're going to be watching very, very, very closely. And then we also now have a marginal risk of severe weather from eastern Wyoming, parts of northwestern Nebraska, parts of South Dakota and North Dakota and Montana, not Montana, Minnesota, sorry, that we're going to be watching for today as well. There is actually a 2% tornado risk that is up here with this in the Grand Fork and Fargo area, so be mindful of that. I'm watching this for trends this afternoon. We might go live for this afternoon if things do pop off. That way we can get you guys knowing where you need to go, get your safe places and all that kind of stuff. So be mindful of that. We might stream that this afternoon. We also might just do a live stream to just kind of cover and talk about what's going to happen this week as well. So just be mindful of that for all of my viewers to watch. But that is going to be for today. It'll be a wind and a hail and an isolated tornado risk up there in the northern part of the area of that marginal risk zone. And then back down here into the southern part and central part of that marginal risk, we've got South Dakota, Wyoming, and Nebraska getting into the hail and wind threat for today. Now, today is going to be the lower end severe threat. We don't see any severe threat anywhere else as of right now for today. Now, as we go to tomorrow, we now have a pretty big marginal risk and a slight risk. And I am watching very closely for a wind and hail and a tornado risk for tomorrow. There is a level 2 out of 5 slight risk for parts of northern North Dakota here, central North Dakota, and northwestern Minnesota. This does have a tornado risk accompanied with it as well. It's a 2% tornado risk in that yellow and parts of that western shaded green area. And then we also will have a wind and a hail threat for much of anywhere in this green shaded area, parts of South Dakota, Nebraska, northwestern Kansas, Colorado, Wyoming, parts of Idaho. We've got parts of Utah in this as well, so just kind of be mindful of that if you're in that area for tomorrow. This will be daytime heat driven, and then outside of that, general thunderstorms will be much of the United States. We could see a lot of rain continue to still add up for parts of the southeast, parts of the Ohio Valley, and mid-Atlantic as we go throughout next week with those rainfall totals with those daytime heated thunderstorms. We've had a lot of rain down in Texas and Louisiana as well, some flash flooding issues ongoing that we've had over the last couple of days down there, so be mindful of that. As we go into your Sunday forecast, we have another marginal risk, and this is where I start to get a little bit more, I would say, concerned, start to watch things as we get into next week. We're going to have an upper level disturbance that's going to work its way through much of the United States as we go through next week, basically between today, tomorrow, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, maybe even Thursday and Friday of next week. There could be multiple severe weather setups every single day going forward as we get into next week for much of the Ohio Valley, the Midwest, the Great Lakes, so be mindful in those areas if you're in those to kind of have your severe weather plans just in case something does happen. We have a level 1 marginal risk on Sunday here for much of Minnesota, South Dakota, North Dakota, into Kansas, into parts of Nebraska, Iowa, and Missouri. This is a level 1 risk out of 5. Wind and hail right now is the threat for this. I do see this being upgraded in future outlooks. I do think Sunday and Monday could be our more bigger days as of right now as far as severe weather. Now, on Monday through day 4 through 8, Monday through Friday next week, we don't have any SPC issued severe weather, no outlooks yet as of right now, but I do expect that to change. I think we'll start to see some severe weather setups for much of the Ohio Valley, Midwest, and Great Lakes as we go through next week. We'll talk about why that pattern is showing that here in just a second. And this is going to be the latest European run. We're going to show this. This is just going to show the general overall pattern of what we're going to be seeing over the next couple of days. And this is going to be our first little disturbance that's going to come through. We got a low up in Canada that's bringing that severe weather threat today, a pretty strong southwesterly to northeasterly flow here in the mid-level winds. That helps kind of rotate updrafts. It helps produce wind, hail, a couple tornadoes typically possible with that on that cold front that trails down from it there. But this little low that's coming off the coast of California, this is the one that's going to have that severe weather set up potentially for tomorrow. And you can see that already working overnight tonight through much of the Rockies. And then by tomorrow night, tomorrow afternoon, we start to see this little zonal trough ejection set up over parts of the Rockies and parts of the northern plains. And this is where that severe weather setup is going to bullseye for tomorrow for up there in the parts of North Dakota and Minnesota. And then as we go into Monday and Tuesday, you can already see a little bit of a dip in the jet stream here. And this is also going to be potentially here for the Ohio Valley into Illinois, Kentucky, Indiana. This is something we're going to watch as well. You got another low off the coast of the Northeast here that we're going to be watching as well for potentially some spin up. So just kind of be mindful of that as we go into this week, as we go into Monday and Tuesday. And then as we go into Tuesday, Wednesday, we'll have another little low that pops up over the Canada, Montana line. And this could potentially bring some severe weather as we go again into the further half of the week into Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And then after that, we're going to continue to see a heat wave. A heat dome is already set up over much of the Central Plains, Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas. The Four Corners is going to be seeing a lot of heat. We can see heat indexes well above 110 for much of these areas that I have circled there in the Central and Southern Plains. So make sure you have enough water to stay hydrated. Make sure you have enough, make sure you have sunscreen. Make sure if you're outside that you are limited to how long you're outside for. Some people that are older also have issues. Some people in general that have lung issues, stuff like that. Just be mindful of that. We'll have another low that's working its way through the Ohio Valley on Friday and Saturday with some maybe general marginal severe weather and some general thunderstorms that could pop up. But this is just something we're going to watch. It does look to be that this week will be pretty active. And then as we go into that, first weekend of August, we'll talk more about that as we go throughout the week. So as far as that goes, guys, I will show you one more run here, and this is going to be just the general where's all the rain going to be at. And you can see over the next couple of days here, we're going to be watching for those rain showers over much of the Ohio Valley, Midwest, Great Lakes, and into parts of the Southeast as well. A couple lows popping up, like I said, as we go through Thursday and Friday. So we'll talk more about this in the live stream today and tomorrow, and we'll talk more about this in the future videos for you guys down the road. But make sure you guys stay weather aware, stay safe, and we will keep you guys updated, and I will see you guys later on.